In this digital age, where the world is at our fingertips, we're dreamers, we're believers, reaching for the stars, yeah. With AI by our side, possibilities seem endless and bright. There's a future full of promise and it's within our grasp.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Future Fiction Academy. Oh my goodness, you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to let people know that this daggone thing was even happening. My goodness. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to Facebook real quick and throw something up. How are you? My name is Ekel O'Hara. I work for the Future Fiction Academy, and we are dedicated to creating a better future through literature, and we do it with artificial intelligence, and we are proud of it. Absolutely proud of it. Today, we are going to be talking about the summit, the publishing summit brought to you by a literal millionaire, actual person who has made over $1 million. That means more than 6 zeros. That's 7 zeros. And has a absolute key, has a key way of creating to the point where he now has a 6-figure a year business that does absolutely bonkers. And he writes all kinds of genres, but because we call him Bad Evan, you can believe that he's got some bad going on in his writing. So I bring to the stage the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Bad Evan himself. How you doing, Evan?
Hey, hello, it's good to see you, buddy.
It is good to see you. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. Yeah, there it is. I know. Like, hey, what's up?
See
right in your
gray
face.
in the beard.
Yes. I like. Well, see, you could see the gray in my stubble. So I think we're even, Evan. I think we're even. Ladies and gentlemen, I have known this gentleman for 2 years. Been in classes with him for 2 years. Enjoyed his ability to understand the most incredibly and ultimately technical things that we do at the FFA. He was there when we created Raptor, right? Watching us do that craziness. He was there when we created Rexy, watching us do that craziness. That Rexy 1. Remember Rexy 1?
Oh, yeah.
And then us moving on to Rexy 2, which was another form of sequencing and automation that we were trying to work up ourselves. And then we found this cool thing called N8N, which opened our brains to the fact that there are other pieces of equipment and software and stuff like that can actually help us do these things better than anything that we could think of ourselves.
Oh, yeah.
And so we've been using a lot of back-end things to facilitate our sequencing and all of those things. But here's one for you, Evan. You are what I would call incredibly quietly successful.
Yes. Yeah.
You are. I've never known you to brag. As a matter of fact, the only reason we're just mentioning all these things about 6-figure this and 7-figure that is because marketing, baby. We got to let y'all know that the person you're talking to actually has the credentials, or as the kids like to say, the creds.
The only reason why I ever mention in any of our chats or classes or anything, like when we do our 25 and 25 goal setting, stuff like that. The only reason why I mention where I'm at or what I'm doing in a month or what my goal for 2025 is just to show people that it is possible. Like that this isn't, pie in the sky, that
Mm-hmm.
this is what I'm doing every month. This is what I'm bringing in, but also in the accountability, I've had months where I fell short, where I didn't hit my goals or I was below my normal value. And I had to, here's why I think that happened. Here's what I didn't do. Here's what was different in the market. Here's I took 2 weeks off because I hurt my back and, all that good stuff. So, but that's the only, like, I try not to brag. I try to encourage other people to find their goal in themselves and then understand that they can actually achieve it. You just got to put the hours in at the grindstone to do it.
And very much like having a YouTube channel or something like that. You just got to put the work in.
Yeah.
You've heard me go on my incredibly long rants about validation.
Yeah.
And and everybody, if anybody knows anything about me, it's my main thing is my biggest main thing is you need to do your homework.
Mhm.
Now, if you do your homework, you too could be very much like Bad Evan and achieve goals and dreams that are actually real things that make a difference in this world. And people always are like, well, what do you mean difference in this world? And I frankly, I mean, words can change minds. Words can make people feel different. You could write a beautiful story about an animal, and then all of a sudden that person from that moment on is a donator to the ASPCA. I mean, that's how powerful the written word is. And
we, as storytellers, especially sharing from our own interesting perspectives, because we all do. We all put a little bit of ourselves into every character and every situation, and every plot twist has a little bit of personal experience in there, a little bit of our own literal blood in there. And by doing that, our readers feel seen because it may relate to them. They feel a little bit understood a little bit more, or it changes their perspective on something that they've seen and experienced that maybe makes them think about it differently. So we absolutely have the power, especially in dark times in history when oppression is on the rise and people feel stifled. Opening up a book for escape, for entertainment, but ultimately walking away feeling emboldened or empowered or visible changes that person's trajectory and can alter the entire course of society by that person now making a protest sign or going volunteering with a food bank or doing something because the passion was awakened in them. And we know that it does happen from the written word. And when people do that, and it seems like an escapism, it seems like entertainment, but ultimately it helps people become more connected to the world around them, even if it's fantasy books.
Yeah, I mean, and there's a reason why at times there are these moments where people are trying to suppress the written word or something like that, and they want to burn books or something. Does anyone understand that the reason they want to burn the books is because reading something burns it into a person's psyche and makes them actually act different, feel different about something that they've never realized or something that had never occurred to them before, and all of a sudden they don't want to do that thing that way anymore? That's power. That is true power in the written word. And what we're doing here right now is we're doing our best to get authors who have had all kinds of issues. They could have some type of neural thing that's different. They may be on the spectrum. They may be They may actually have a debilitating illness that only gives them a certain amount of energy for a certain amount of time to do a certain amount of stuff. And artificial intelligence has completely and utterly made those things a much more made success much more achievable and digestible than it used to be.
There's a gatekeeping and a barrier to entry becoming a published author that, as with any industry and any type of community like that, when technology advances, it democratizes access to it. Whether it's, before in the 90s, you had to pay a pretty large monthly bill and you had to live in a well-developed area to be able to have internet access at home. Most homes didn't have it. In the 90s, it was like 20% of homes had internet access. Now we look at it today as almost a universal right to have internet access, whether it's at home, your office, or on your phone, you're connected to the internet. And it changed so many things about so many different industries. And it's like that with writing as well. As technology got better, as technology advanced, these barriers, these class system barricades kind of came down. So tech benefited us in that. So even people who don't necessarily have access issue, whether it being through disability or something like that, you have also single moms or moms at home who are taking care of 3 kids. They don't have the time to sit down and write a 120,000 word book, but they have it in them. They have the story, and they've read the craft books, and they're learning, and they're learning how to make the story better and engaging. You're going to say that because she used technology, that's somehow less valid than George R.R. Martin taking 20 years to write the next book, and he's only a quarter of the way done? No. Let's, let us tell our stories, and if the readers like it, the readers will buy it.
I have to say, come back for more. Yeah, I have to say, we try our best not to bring up our here. You know what I mean?
For me, I really want the next book.
It's a sore subject for me too. Exactly, a sore subject for me too, because I think the biggest problem to him making it's just a sidebar. The biggest problem to him making that was when they made the show.
It demotivated him.
He gave his story out. I mean, he told the story he wanted to tell. It wasn't necessarily executed like he wanted it to be at the very, very end. He went
on record saying that the direction that they went in the last season and a half is not the direction he was going. But they advised and they talked, but it's not the way he was going. But his story's already done. Somebody else finished it for him. So he's demotivated, and that's why you see him working on all the other stuff, because he's demotivated. Like, it's already done. People have already got an ending. That's what's going to be in their heads. And to be quite honest, it will be for most people. That's the ending of the series. Even if he comes out with the next 2 books, they're still going to think of how the series ended. I won't say it, even though it's been years and people should have already seen it, but I won't spoil it.
But I'm a big Doctor Who fan, and you know how River is. Spoilers, honey. You can't be screwing with the spoilers. Not in this society, not in a place where you say a thing and it gets all the way across the planet in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
It's a little difficult to even talk about this stuff. But you're right. But let's loop it back around. So this motivation he had, this demotivation he had, is because he's sitting fat and pretty. Mm-hmm. He's literally been there, done that, had the success. A lot of what he has to deal with now isn't as important. He wants to create new things. I could imagine that, as torturous as it is for the way that he writes, I could imagine that if he was a young man and he knew that he could use artificial intelligence to help spin up 3, 4, 5 different scenarios to get to the end, and most of them are his, and he wants to see how they play out, sort of in a way, so that he can then take that and rewrite. He would have loved it. I think. But because because these people are all old school, old authors are very much like old dogs, incredibly difficult to teach them new tricks, and which is a shame because it isn't like a blanket thing, but there's a lot of um, uh, animosity, and I think a lot of that animosity is really about how much more fluid our tools make it for us to be able to create.
Well, they feel like, and this happens again in any industry, any specialty, any field, especially in creative fields. They feel that they earned their spot. They feel that they earned their place at the top of the mountain, and that anybody who doesn't put in the same grind and sweat that they didn't earn it. And I've seen this in lots of other places too, where somebody's like, oh, well, I've been here for 15 years and I've struggled through getting through this. And I'm like, okay, well, that's great. Technology's changed and now it only takes 2 years to get there. That doesn't invalidate my knowledge and my experience and my writing. It doesn't invalidate yours as either.
It's just that the world changed.
Right. You know what? Scribes who were using papyrus and quill pens, they would look at, writers pre-AI, but still within this era of computers and say that they're cheating. They're not real writers.
They should be writing every word down with their own hand.
Right. You make a mistake, you got to throw the whole papyrus out. You can't just backspace. You can't click the little red line and correct the spelling. You got to throw the whole damn thing. You're not a real writer. You're not a real scribe.
Yeah.
So things change. And the reality of the situation is there's going to be people who will, for the next couple of generations, will probably never use AI, or they'll say they never use AI, but they do. And they'll move the goalpost,
Yes.
like, oh, it's okay to use this thing that's just doing this critiquing. And, by the way, spell check is AI. Hate to tell you that. Grammar checks are AI. But so they'll move the goalposts a little bit, but we're going to get more and more to where people find what comfortability they have with using the tool. I know some, I studied photography in high school. I had my own dark room. And when digital cameras came along and you no longer had to process film and then print the photos in a dark room and everything, and you could just do it on your computer, people thought photography was going to die. And now we look at still some of the top photographers around the world that get put on the covers of magazines still use film, but digitally enhanced. They scan those negatives in and then they digitally manipulate them to look a certain way or have a certain color or grade or what have you.
Maybe they couldn't get their hands on that specific type of film that day, but they got something pretty close.
Yeah.
And they're getting the picture that they kind of want with the grain they kind of want, but they want the tone to be different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little tweaks, little changes. I wish I'd set that light up over here. Well, I can digitally add that light in and get a little rim hair light going on,
Hey, Evan, we need to go on a photography walk when we're in Vegas or something.
Absolutely. I'll bring some of my cameras with me.
Yeah, I'll bring one or two of mine too.
I'm really into silver plate photography as well.
Oh.
Not a thing I could do like on the spot in Vegas, but like
you'd have to bring around a gigantic thing and walk from one spot to the other and set up the big gigantic tripods
and then pour the chemicals on the glass plate and do all the things. Yeah, because it doesn't. Yes, yeah, but I love it. I absolutely love it. But yeah, so technology changes, and some people are going to adapt, and they're going to find their comfortability. They're going to find where they're happy. Some digital artists they start with a sketch drawing, and then they go into Procreate, and then they finish the sketch out there. People are going to find that with AI and writing. What's your comfort level? What do you want to do? How much control do you want to have? And anybody who is standing there, invalidating that is standing against the currents of time and technology and progress. And they will eventually go the way of the buggy whip, and they will find themselves irrelevant.
So you seem, I don't know, let me think, knowledgeable.
Yeah. I read a lot.
And now in that, so what's your um what did you do before you grew up?
So I started. It's rough. So I do a lot of work in politics, and I was involved in my first campaign when I was 6 years old. It was a family friend running for office here in my home state in Indiana, and my aunt took me around to go volunteer on the campaign, and it kind of stuck. So political activism and government oversight has been a passion of mine literally since I was 6 years old. So I study a lot about public policy, about social paradigms, about government interaction, about community, spontaneous order. These are all things that I kind of study: entrepreneurship,
Mm.
government regulation, government corruption. So these are all things that have been passionate of mine. And to understand them, you have to understand history. If you're not looking at the Weimar Republic to understand the beginning of fascism, or nationalism, you're going to miss it when it happens in front of you. If you're not studying Pol Pot, you're not going to understand the evils of those systems. If you're not looking at those things, if you're not looking at communities that have been successful, if you're not looking at, how certain countries have deregulated drug controls and how it dramatically dropped drug addiction rates and increased overall health of the people in their community by doing something spontaneous as saying, we're going to legalize all drugs. Change the outcome of the entire country, because now addiction wasn't criminalized. It was considered a health issue where now you go to a doctor.
So
Sorry.
this no. So these sorts of things that you have studied, these sorts of things that you've been super involved in, how do they spill out into your writing?
It helps me create better characters and better plot devices, especially on the more bad Evans side, which is the dirty smut side. Really doesn't. But on my other sides, my dystopian, my post-apocalyptic, my science fiction, even my urban fantasies, understanding how societies work in different areas. Like, we're very nestled in our own society, and we kind of understand, most people kind of understand our social constructs here in the US. But until you've gone to other countries and, remote places, and you see how in Vietnam families treat, the family dynamic is very different. You don't really have a respect for your own family dynamics, or just those societal structures here in the United States, until you see the differences in other places. And you don't have to go to Vietnam to do that. You can read a book or watch a documentary. I love watching foreign TV shows with the subtitles on, so that I can see those characters. I can see how different people are engaging in the world. I can understand, studying the history of Russia and Ukraine, and how Kiev used to be Rus, which was the capital of Russia, about 1,000 years ago, or 800 years ago.
And how that's all directly related to a lot of the things that they used to convince everyone that they needed to go to war this time.
Right.
I mean, I often work either like a Google Notebook LM or something like that, where I need to make sure that I understand a subject pretty well. And AI tools are incredibly well suited for teaching you things, especially if they're tamped down like Google LM is, and because it does hallucinate a little bit if you get really large with the context and stuff like that. But otherwise,
the Pro model does a lot better, by the way.
What is
the Pro? The Google LM Pro 3 works.
Yeah, I have that one.
It works a lot better. It hallucinates a lot less.
I was teaching a class this morning about making series brains with, this time it was with, last week it was with Claude and ChatGPT projects. This week it was with Grok projects and Google LM. And the main difference is that I had someone at the end of the class ask me, said, "Hey, I'm having hallucination problems with blah, 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 blah when it gets up to a certain amount of documents. And I have never experienced that because I have Pro. And so I literally have never experienced it. But I did understand that. I was like, oh, well, do detailed summaries, maybe even bring that manuscript into Google LM and have it make a summary from the citations and all of that stuff. And then you can make that into a source of it, and then get rid of the actual big source and kind of have it as a substitute and stuff like that. I keep going back though, Evan, to the fact that you have literally been in all of this. You wrote before.
Yeah, way before AI.
You wrote. No. You want to be modest, you can be modest all you want. You wrote effectively before the self-publishing revolution. You went away from this. We had a discussion the other day on the live on Friday's thing, and you went away from this yourself for a number of years. I would say 5, 6.
09 to 2013.
Yeah. So 4 years. You had a 4-year hiatus from the transition to the new thing. Yeah. You saw the new thing come and you weren't afraid of the new thing. You decided to get into the new thing. So how did you write before even the self-publishing revolution? What was your did you make money when you were doing it before?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I wasn't where I'm at today, but I was definitely profitable. But it was a lot harder too, because none of it was in ebook. Like that wasn't a thing. And even when it became a thing in the early 2000s, I was very resistant to it because of potential pirating.
See,
so I was very, very like, oh, I don't want to do ebooks. But I did a few in the early time, but now everything's an ebook. I still focus a lot on print because I believe in physical media is important, especially now when we see things disappear.
You can tell you're a man of a certain age. Me and you, I'm probably older than you, but I'm telling you.
My nephew was complaining about his game disappearing from Sony PlayStation platform. And I said, yeah, it's because you don't own it, buddy. If you don't have the disc in your hand, you're just leasing it from them until they decide they don't want you to have it anymore.
Yeah.
So get a physical. And now they're,
impossible.
The Switch doesn't have it. The thing you get when you buy the game in a store is a download code. So you don't, but I still believe in books. I still believe that we need the printed physical copies. So when the grid crashes, you have the book in your hand, even if it's just because you need to burn it for warmth. It's a physical product that you have. But yeah, it was a lot harder
off guard with that one.
You really had to do a lot of pre-research before you started writing. You had to really know where the trends were going and what readers wanted.
This is before self-publishing.
I mean, self-publishing's been around for a long time, but this was
no. I mean, before the boom.
Yeah. This was, every writer sent out hundreds of requests to agents and publishing houses and small imprints every year. And I remember I had a stack of rejection letters from publishing houses. I wish I had kept them all so that I could write them all today and tell them to suck it. Some of them have gone out of business, and I'm still here. But you had to do all of this work, and the reason was because it was a huge investment to release a title, because you had to do print runs. And print runs, for them to start dropping in price, you had to do, a minimum of 5,000 copies, but typically it was 10,000. So you had to order 10,000 copies, 5,000 to 10,000 copies of your print book.
70 grand worth of books.
just to be, there was no print on demand. There was no place you could go to get 10 copies of a book. Are you serious? There was nowhere you could go to order a book and have it delivered the next day. I mean, if I called my bookstore up and said, "Hey, I want this book," if they didn't have it in stock, it took 3 to 6 months for it to come in, you know? So it was a different time where you had to, it was definitely margins. So you would do a couple of books and maybe one of them took off, but oftentimes they didn't. They sold okay. You hoped to break even on it. Um, and even in that era, starting in 1998 when I was in high school, I still was able to make money. And what I did was, this is really going to date myself, is there were bulletin board services, BBSs, and then online forums. And I would hawk my titles in those places. And people would literally mail me a check to my PO box, and then I would mail them the book. And I made really good money doing that because I'd post in a specific forum and I'd share excerpts from my book and the premise and then what we now call the blurb and the hook. Um, that's what I would post in there, and people would be like, "Oh, this is great. Where can I get this?" And like, "Well, you can order it from your bookstore and it'll take 6 months to get there, or send me a check and I'll mail you a copy the next day." And I'd get, people would buy.
Wow,
Um,
and that was money. That was the money. That was all the money, as
yeah, like
opposed
about
to
100% of it. Yeah.
yep, that was
And
all the money.
split it with any evil smiling platform. Um, um, but it was hard. And then in the early 2000s, e-commerce was more available. There were more programs for shopping carts and things like that, other payment processors. And like, I remember building my first websites where you had Internet and Communitech. That was the company that sold domain names, and then the other company hosted your website. And those were the two options you had. And it was about $1,000 a year.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. All the people who learned HTML and made a mint
Yeah. Yeah.
making people's websites for them local. They could do it local because
Yeah.
everybody needed one.
And it was nothing but a flyer page. Like you couldn't even send an email on those pages. It literally just listed the hours of operation, your address, maybe a couple of really low res images, and like your phone number. And that was it. That's all you had.
So
Kids today, they don't know how they got it.
oh, the kids today. So
But yeah,
you
and then in the 2000s, early 2000s,
then this thing happens.
it changed, and now you could
the
communicate
Kindle
with people and
comes out.
buy. So I avoided the Kindle. I literally don't think I released my first ebook until 2007, 2008. I'm not kidding, dude. I was so resistant to it. And the reason why was because I had seen multiple times where people would sell on eBay a bundle of 500 books that were all PDFs, and they're selling it for like $10. And I'm like, I put $70,000 into producing that title. I'm losing money.
Right.
But now again, and I think this is why
and you had to convince yourself, though. I mean, you had to convince yourself. You had to get over your technical hump. Even you, who leans into technology like no one I've ever seen. Even you had to get over your technical hump, right?
I did. What it came down to was, I thought, listen, if it's being pirated, people like it. If it's being pirated, people like it, which means there are buyers. So how do I make this so that it's easier to put in the hands of the people who want to read it? And I thought, okay, let's do some of these titles as ebooks, because it's cheaper for them, which means there's going to be more readers. It doesn't actually cost me anymore, really, to do it. It did at the time. It was a little bit more expensive. It's not as easy as it is today. But I can do this, and if it gets pirated, it gets pirated. And years later, not a whole lot later, but a few years later, there were actually studies that were done and a little bit of follow through where they showed if you were popular on pirated sites, it actually increased your physical media sales. Like,
Because people would
go to
actually,
Apple.
they'd read your book and then they want to read it again, but they want to read the real one.
Yeah.
I'll give you a good example. I still do. I get the Kindle copy. I
Mhm.
copy and I paste it into 11 Labs so I can listen to it, and then I still go when the audio, because I want to get it. I want to ingest it as fast as I possibly can, and I'm a slow reader.
Yeah.
And so I get it in it's my brain as fast as I possibly can. My favorite author, everyone's heard me talk about him all the time. His name's Rick Brown, and I love him a lot. I love him so much, and I hope he doesn't die before he finishes the series. And so, I mean, it's a gigantic thing. He wants to do 75 books, 15 episodes a season.
Nice.
And he's just about to finish up the third of the 15 book seasons, and he's still got like 2 more. It's a big deal to me that I ingest that as quickly as I possibly can. Doesn't mean I'm not going to get the audiobook and listen to that incredible audiobook performer do the exact same thing, which, by the way, just so y'all all know, will be the same thing with real people. The narrators who are real people, they will not go away. There will be people who want to hear that human do that thing, but there will be people who would rather get a cheaper version of it and just listen to this other AI voice. I mean, this AI voice do it, and there may be people who like love that AI voice and want more. So these things are boom, 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 boom changing.
Do you know who Henry Rollins is?
I know the name. Don't know.
He's a hardcore punk rock musician, Henry Rollins, and he also did some acting. But I would love for him to narrate my poetry book. It'd be amazing. I think he'd love it, Henry Rollins. If you're listening, I'd love for you to do it. But I'd have to pay him a ton of money to do it, which means the cost of that audiobook would go up. I'd have to charge more for it. But if I do it through 11 Labs or Spoken or Play HT or VoiceOver,
you can get a voice that feels like his.
Maybe that, maybe not that, maybe something completely different, maybe a British woman. I don't know.
Feel you.
But it'd be just something different. But I'm lowering the cost of entry for somebody who wants to read the poetry but doesn't want to pay $14.99 for an ebook or an audiobook. Now I'm bringing it down to, $2.99 because I didn't have to spend $100,000 to get Henry Rollins to narrate the book. Now I've got, this other version, which is much easier for somebody to access. And now that person's reading it. And that's the epiphany that I had with ebooks in 2007 was I need to make this available for other people. Ebooks were not the trend back then. It was less than 5% of the entire market was ebooks. Less than 5% were digital books at the time. But you can see it's not the value proposition, the risk that you're taking as a reader with your hard-earned cash, which at the time was getting really hard to hold on to. It's easier to pay this lower price for this thing. I don't have to dedicate a big piece of my backpack or a piece on my shelf. I don't have to wait for it to be delivered in the mail. And I didn't have to spend $20 on it. I spent $2 and I got it right now on my phone because, that was mostly and tons more people have that instant access where they don't have to take the risk, especially if they don't know you as an author, but the idea sounds interesting. The story sounds interesting. I'm going to take that risk. It's only 99 cents. It's only $2.
Yeah, it really is.
That's less than a cup of coffee at Starbucks.
All right. I'm starting to get this impression that you were the right person to lead the summit. Ladies and gentlemen, Bad Evan has decided very recently that he wanted to impart. I mean, you've now spent 40 minutes with this man. You've seen him talk. You understand now why I love and admire him so much. He's such, and you can get all mushy about it if you want, Evan, but that's the way I feel about you. I mean, like at some point, somebody like we were in the middle of a class and somebody chopped him down on something, and I would have been very angry. I would have been very angry at that. I remember you pulling back for a couple of days because it was super choppy, you know, and I kept reaching out to you, didn't I?
Yeah,
I kept going. I kept going. Hey, you all right? You know that ain't. You know that ain't how everybody feel. You know what I'm saying? You know, because I valued what Evan brought to the group. And that is such a big deal, to be able to be in the group, feel like you're learning from your peer, and understand that they have knowledge that you don't have, which you do, which you practical things, physical thing. Literally, you have charts and you have Notion databases, and you have all of these things that you've used in your six figure a year, 7-figure overall business. You've made well over $1 million. You make
in
somewhere
profit.
in profit. You make about over $140,000 a year in profit, and you understand what it is people have to do. So do me a favor, everyone. If you are interested in spending 26 weeks with this man, learning exactly what it is to be a successful author, a person who can support your family by yourself with your business, not your husband's business, not your wife's business, not your significant other's business, but your business. As a matter of fact, so much so that your significant other could maybe not work, or maybe be at home to take care of the things that you aren't really good at. Or like I appreciate my wife. I appreciate my wife for her degrees of organization when it comes to finances. That I cherish her every moment she wakes up. And so, but if I had a business where I could have her devote all of that prowess to just my business, come on, y'all. That right there is a life changer. That right there is a game changer. That right there could make the difference in this world. And if you want to get a hold of the summit, there is a link down in the description below. It is 26 weeks of comprehensive work. Now, don't get in this thing if you don't think you're going to be able to like be in this thing, because Evan's going to be in this thing. And he's going to be teaching it every week. And he's going to be helping people, specifically helping people get it done, meaning publish books, understand what it is to publish a book effectively, understand how the book actually relates to the industry you're popping it into, whichever genre it is. These things are all going to happen inside the summit, and it's called the Publishing Summit, and it is a $5,000 expenditure, something that you can do over at the Future Fiction Academy. There are links in the description below. We have been very, very fortunate in the brilliant people that have followed us on this journey come into the academy. And Evan has always been there to kind of help other people shepherd through learning a bunch of stuff that you never would have even thought of even going towards before yourself, Evan.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's such a synergistic sort of thing that happens inside the FFA. People all gather together, and then we start talking about specific things that we're having either problems with or successes doing. We do goal setting. We do all of those things. But even if you like follow all of the FFA stuff and all of the videos on YouTube, there's still something to be said about an intensive, an actual class that you go to every week, learn something actionable, and get it done. Make your money. And it isn't about all about making money, it's about freedom. Freedom to write what you want, freedom to be wherever you want in this world. Maybe you don't like the politics of wherever you are at the current time. Maybe you want to move to another place where you can enjoy that. Maybe you need the money for the visa so that you can stay for a long time. That is actual things that can happen if you go and click the link below.
I'm not going to say that I looked into it, but a visa to Madrid is like 10 grand per person. Just saying. I didn't look into it at all.
Nope.
But it's,
nope.
you know.
Nope. Didn't look into it at all.
Something I'd like to point out about the summit is how this is different from a lot of other workshops that other people may be doing. Is one, I've seen a lot of workshops where people have done 1 or 2 books in a year. And I've been doing this since 2013. And before that, I did it from 1998 to 2009, the hard way. So there's a little bit more knowledge and experience and failures. I failed a bunch of times. I had to pivot and learn. And that's part of what we're going to be talking about is how to pivot, how to adapt when a genre is not working, when a pen name's not working right. What do you do? How do you adapt a new piece of technology into your workflow and your program? Those are things we're going to talk about. But here's the other thing is it's not theory. We're not going to be talking about these things. We're going to be doing them. And when I say we, I mean, I'm starting a new publishing company from scratch. We're going to do the business registration. We're going to do the banking. We're going to do all the things that go with starting a business, buying the ISBNs, doing the research to develop the pen names and the personas that go with the pen names, doing the genre research to find out what genre niches we want to be in. But I'm going to start a brand new publishing company from scratch with no followers, no newsletter list, no content, no story dossier templates. We're starting from zero. And I'm going to build a new publishing company, create 5 pen names, produce 5 books for each pen name. That's 25 books, and turn it into a continuous machine that can continue to publish and make money over and over and over again. And I'm going to be doing it live in front of you over 26 weeks. And then while we're doing that live, I'm going to be holding your hand with consent, always consent, holding your hand to help you do the same thing, to help you figure out what path you need to take, what tools do you need, what is your methodology for talking to Claude, because maybe it's not working exactly the same way for you as it is for me. When to adapt these processes into N8N. When is it time to move from having something on your local computer as a self-hosted thing to running it in a cloud program where you can access it from anywhere in the world and use somebody else's CPU power? We're going to talk about those things, and I'm going to show them to you, and then I'm going to hold your hand and answer your questions. So every Sunday for 2 hours, we're going to meet for 26 weeks, which is a lot of time. I charge $200 an hour for consulting just as a base rate. So you're getting a good deal. 2 hours every Sunday. The first half hour will be a Q&A about the previous week or any questions you have before we start the next session. And then we're going to do an hour deep dive in whatever the topic is for that week. Then we're going to do a half-hour Q&A where you get to ask questions about the content we just covered and have the, how does it relate to you? Can you do this? Any of the questions that are going to be popped up. 2 hours every week. But then we also have our own Discord channel where you can post your homework, where you can ask questions about the content. Or, maybe you're a couple weeks behind and now you're caught up and you need to know, hey, what if I do this for my newsletter? How can I generate this content for my newsletter? What newsletter services should I use? And we're going to be answering and talking to each other about who signed up for what, how it's working for them, all of these things. We're going to hold each other's hands and help each other grow our publishing empires. The reason why I wanted to do this is not because of the money. It's because in the FFA, I've been helping people step by step be better at the business of publishing, answering questions one-on-one, talking about the things that I do and the pitfalls that I face, the barricades and obstacles, and helping people overcome those same things. There are a lot of great writers in the FFA, but there's a lot of people who are struggling with the business side of publishing, how to keep on top of that, how to grow your empire so that, you can make a full-time living doing this.
And this isn't about getting rich quick, anybody.
No. Oh God.
This is about changing.
This will not work if you don't work it. There's no guarantee for success. If you put out garbage, you will not succeed. But here's a secret for you. I know amazing authors who don't make any money. These are people who should be on the top 100 list of everybody reading their writing. They're amazing.
And no reason that other than what? What's the mindset?
They don't know the business. They don't know how to make money. They made money on their first book, but they lost their readership because it took them 2 years to get to the next book. All of those things are part of that ecosystem of cultivating your reader and meeting their expectations of content delivery and then timing. But none of those things were there for them. They just wanted to write. So they're not really making money. I know writers who are pretty awful who make more money than I do.
I know one specifically right off the top of my head that a lot of people know. Mm-hmm. He came out of nowhere, wrote a bunch of mediocre books, and they caught on, and he made a ton of money doing it. Mm-hmm. I think you probably even know who. Yeah. And he made a ton. As soon as I said it, the way I said it, you were like, "Oh yeah, I know who that is." Made a ton of money doing it. I mean, got to the point where he created conferences, all kinds of crap, all from making it all. Yeah, and it made it, and then it all, and because they ran their business badly. It all kind of went away because
it's why a lot of artists have managers. Because they don't know how to sell their art. They know how to make it and then go to the gallery to talk about it, but they don't know how to sell it, how to get in the press, how to get into the things. But through this, that's so nice. I'm old.
I'm older, so shut up.
So I wanted to help people in our community be better at business and better at being able to overcome the obstacles and understanding that there are cycles. I see in some of the groups on Facebook constantly, oh, my Amazon sales dropped this month. There must be some glitch. No, it's a thing that happens. It's not, there are buying periods, and there are buying periods for specific genres and subgenres. I know that where I'm at right now, my best quarter was going to be Q4. I don't do a lot of holiday books, but I know that is the biggest time for buying. When do I get my most reads? Around Kindle days, around Stuff Your Kindle, of course. So I'm prepared with lots of really good content that I can put in there that hooks the reader to that pen name. But I know I'm going to make more money in Q4.
Here's some questions.
Questions.
Should we wait until we have a certain number of drafts, or is this pure?
Starting at zero, because I'm going to show you my system as well. I'm not gatekeeping anything. You're going to see me write the books. You're going to see me do absolutely everything. And then I'm going to share those with you. So I'm going to share my templates, my prompts, everything. Also, all the people who are in the summit, you're going to get my publisher tracker, which is my Notion page that I use to track my pen names, my books, my formats for books, who my cover designers were for those, my versions, manuscript versions from rough draft all the way to the final version, my translations, my revenue, my expenses.
Well, I didn't
Everything
hear
is
you
in my
say
publisher
this.
tracker. Yeah,
I didn't hear you say this. I don't see ads mentioned. Do
I
you
don't.
do
I
you
don't
cover
run
that
ads.
in your course?
Briefly, I don't run ads except for a new pen name to get people in the newsletter. I'll do ads for the free magnet, but it's $5 a day, and I literally just let the algorithms place them, so it's not too intensive. The most important thing is to have a really kick-ass graphic and a good blurb that hooks people right in the first sentence. Right in the first sentence. If you can't sell somebody on the book in 15 words, redo it. Literally. But so
What
we're going to
about
talk about that, but we
contractors?
don't do the other ads. The only outsourcing that I do to other people is my book covers. I'm going to try to be doing a lot of these covers, these 25 covers in-house with me. It's going to be painful, but we're going to struggle through it together. It's not my favorite thing in the world to do. I'd rather pay somebody for a cover design, but we're going to cover that. I'm going to make some of the covers myself, and they're still going to be good, and they're going to be genre typed. They're going to meet those expectations for genre. We're going to do some pre-made covers, which are way cheaper. And then we're going to have a couple of them made to order so that I can show you how I submit my design ideas, but also let the creative person go from there to create the best laid out cover possible. But we're going to do all three of those so that you can experience them and see exactly how I do all three of those. I tend to do a lot of them are pre-made covers. I tend to go and buy pre-made covers and design my story around the cover. Just FYI, it's a little tip for you there. The cover speaks to me and I see it and I go, I see a
You are
story in
not
the cover.
the only person.
I know. There's a lot of people who do that.
Well, and meaning that I personally, I will futz around in ideogram. I'll take a old cover or something like that, and then take that cover and have it just reimagine it with this character and this, and just kind of the layout of whatever that cover is. And then I inject a whole bunch of, and then I start looking at it and going, oh, I could make a story about that, or oh, I could, you know what I mean? So I feel you. So here's another one.
Okay, yeah.
Can we talk to you all about what's getting under?
Yeah, I'm going to tell you point blank. So I have my own N8N setups, which I'm going to share with you guys. So I have my own workflows in that. I have just
so y'all know, N8N is a sequencing kind of workflow thing that uses a bunch of different things like LLMs, large language models, to create things like agents to do certain specific things. And they also have hookups to other people's programs so that you can pull them in and use those tools too.
Yep. So my N8N processes, not just for the writing, but also for my translations, a little bit of my marketing stuff. So creating, I can tell you this because it's really hard to duplicate it just by hearing what it is. But like what I do is I feed in parts of my book and ask AI essentially to create a storyboard for these scenes. And then I take those storyboards and I run it through an image generator to create those images of those storyboards. And then I take that into a video editor, an AI video editor, and I animate those images and kind of morph them together. So it starts here and it ends with this endpoint and it morphs in between, and there's motion and there's AI voiceovers and everything. And that creates my 60-second video for TikTok and Instagram. So we're going to do those things. Those are in there, and you're going to get copies of my templates.
Those aren't ads.
No, those aren't ads. That's social. That's just growth. We're not paying and we're not targeting people. But I am going to show you how I set up my social media profiles to, on day one, have the algorithm liking you, because there are secrets and there are things that people do on specifically their TikTok feeds that kill the algorithm for them. So we're going to talk about how to not hamstring yourself immediately with your pen name on social media. I use Claude. I do a lot of work in Claude projects. I love Claude projects. And one of the things that I love to do with Claude projects is create a series dossier template and then individual story dossier templates. Now, notice I said template because what I do is I feed it information about the genre and the writing style, and I say, essentially create me a series dossier template. So now I have a template. So when I want to do series number 2, I already have the framework for the dossiers. I feed that in. Then when I'm ready to create that series, I take that template, pop it in. I'm speaking really fast, so you're going to have to slow this down.
No, please.
0.5 speed if you want to try to do it on your own. So I give it the series dossier template. I give it my premise information, and we build out the series dossier from that. Then I feed it my story dossier template and say, okay, we're going to work on book 1 based off of the series dossier. Let's build a story dossier based off of this template.
Oh.
We're going to do book 1. Then we do chapter by chapter, and we get going.
Hey, Evan, you're getting. I was gonna say you're getting all excited.
I love doing this.
You're telling everybody your business now. Hold on now.
Hey,
let's get to the next. I know.
So here's the deal, Plumstone, is I don't know your situation and I can't put myself in your shoes. What I can tell you is for the course, I'm recommending during the summit, you're probably going to be looking at 5 to 10 hours a week. Now they can be at your own pace. The members of the summit can watch the recorded videos anytime they want. Okay. So you can play them back.
And then you'll always have them. You will always have
lifetime access to them. However, they won't be shared with anybody outside of this summit. So it's not like in 6 months
you can
buy your way into this. When it closes, those are the only people who access it. But so it's best to be in the live class, but you can still watch, and you have access to the Discord where you can ask questions and things like that. Now, I said 5 to 10 hours during the summit because we're stretching things out a little bit, and we're learning to crawl and then walk a little bit. When the summit's over, I put in about 20 to 30 hours a week of actual managing the business. Now I'm engaged with FFA and EAW and Stacy and Akello and everybody else and other groups and stuff like that, professional groups, more than that. But the actual working on my business, producing my content, doing all of that stuff is about 20 to 30 hours a week. But that's my level. You find the level that's comfortable for you and you do it. But
it could just be one book a month, one book every 6 months.
You don't have to be producing as much content. I'm kind of crazy. I'm a workaholic. My boyfriend, we've been together for 8 years, and like he sees me 1 hour a day, and then complains about me snoring. And I'm like, hey, that's quality time, baby. That's me talking to you. That's, so it's really going to be at your level and what you're comfortable with. That you're going to be able to do. So I can't answer that question for you, but what I can say is there are a lot of tools that make it so that you can do this from your phone. When you're sitting in a doctor's office, you can work from your phone. You can be running with Claude projects. You can work in the off hours. The good thing about this is that 99% of the time, you do not have to interact with other people around live working hour schedules. So you don't have to be 9 to 5. If you're a person who wants to be up really, really late at night and working, you can. Really early in the morning, during the day, doesn't matter. It's up to you. But if you want to do it, you'll be able to fit it into your schedule and to be able to generate that. Does that make sense?
Yes, absolutely. All right. So here is the next 2 questions are actually pretty interesting. First one, I'm in the July Accelerator. Does this complement that?
I mean, I think so, because you're learning in the Accelerator, you're learning the basics of AI usage, and especially the first couple of weeks, the first few weeks in the summit, we're going to be talking about the business. We're not going to get quite into AI usage until a little bit later down the road, but we will be doing that. But so the Accelerator will give you a little bit of a leg up from somebody who's starting at absolutely zero base knowledge. You're going to be a little bit more ahead of the curve in understanding how some of these, like when we talk about sequencing, you're not going to need me to go back and explain sequencing to you because you're going to get through the Accelerator.
Yeah, and actually, Accelerator. You've heard this probably, Evan, about the Accelerator, people are like, no, we want the mastermind stuff now. No, give it to us. Give us the mastermind stuff. It's like, oh, and then they go and you click it on and you give them the mastermind stuff. They go, oh, I'm going back to Accelerate. I'm going back to sorry, what the hell am I thinking? Oh my God. Okay, here's the next one. Will there be another summit at a later point?
So here's the deal. The reason why I'm doing this now is because next year I'm going to be in a likely to be in a position where I'm not going to have the time to do it. So I wanted to do this now while I have the time. That doesn't mean I won't do it again, but it will probably be drastically different, and I doubt it will be 6 months. It'll probably be, maybe a 2-month thing, maybe 3 months, and hyper focused on one of the areas. I don't know that I'll do another 26-week course that's this in depth because of the time constraints that I'm going to have next year.
I actually don't blame you. When I actually heard exactly how this thing was going to be formulated, I thought to myself, wow, that's a lot. That's all I was going to say. I was like, that's
I told Barry, and he was like, so I'm just never going to see you again. And I was like, in 6 months, baby. In 6 months.
6 months, baby. 6 months.
All right. He loves it. He gets to play Fortnite. So he's happy. Right now, I'm my tentative, and I plan to talk to the students, the cohort members, the summit attendees, to dial this in. My preference would be, so I don't work on Sundays. Kello knows this. EAW knows this. I don't respond. You message me on Sunday. If you've ever messaged me in Discord on Sunday and you've realized I didn't respond till Monday, that's why. I disconnect on Sundays unless it's emergency. But I'm doing this on Sundays. That way I can have my absolute attention. So 2 hours on Sundays. I'm thinking 4 to 6 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, but I'm open to talking to the rest of the members, the people who sign up, to see if we can find a consensus. If everybody's like, no, that's horrible, we'll change it. But I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and I go to bed by 10. You don't want me doing something at 9 p.m. because I am worthless at 9 p.m. I'm basically just an empty shirt staring at you, waiting for sleepy time at 9 p.m. I am dozing off. I'm an old man who needs his bedtime. We'll work around that.
Hey, congratulations, Beverly. He looks forward to meeting you. Says, I've signed up. Will this info and systems work if I already have various pen names started with only a few books each? Different genres? All romance? Oh, girl.
So this
if you're a girl, Beverly.
You can bring them in. You can start a totally new thing. I do find, I hate to say this, a lot of people structure their stuff kind of not great at the beginning. So you might want to be running stuff separately and then incorporate them later. It's really going to be dependent on you. Again, it's case by case. I'm happy to work with you in the summit. And I do recognize your name and saw you already signed up. So I definitely will talk to you about it. We could do a little one-on-one and talk about what will be the best option for you, moving forward in that system. Start over, and not by starting over, starting something new to run in parallel, incorporate, scrap, whatever. We're going to work it out together. We're going to figure out what's best for you.
Is there deadlines?
There are deadlines. So the first Sunday in August is when the class is starting. And I don't want anybody joining after that. I would suggest sooner rather than later. There may be surprises at different tiers of people joining, and the last people to join may not get anything extra and special. I'm just saying. All right. I'm going to let the cat out of the bag. Okay. So the first 10 people to sign up got 5 1-hour one-on-ones with me. I bill out at $200 an hour. So that's $1,000 bonus that each of them got, right?
Yeah.
For the next 10, I'm going to give them 2 1-hour one-on-one sessions. So
Wait a minute. More than the first people?
No. The first people got 5.
Oh, snap.
The next 10 people get 2.
Ah, okay. I was like, what?
And towards the end, the
I
last
was thinking 2
nothing.
hours at a time. I'm like,
No.
no.
They get 1 hour sessions, but they can get 2 of them.
Yes.
So yeah, the sooner you sign up, the better. Also, I did see a couple things before I say this. Do not stretch your budget beyond what is within your means to do. Please do not do that. Don't spend your rent money. Instead, just stick around the FFA and pick up little nuggets of wisdom as they fall.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, there are several people who are in as a matter of fact, the person who just asked about the deadline is in the FFA, and there is this knowledge starts seeping out. That actual trickle down thing that Reagan talked about in the 80s, that can actually happen inside
occasionally, just not in Texas.
Yes. Just not in Texas. But yeah.
So somebody said this was out of their budget right now. I get that. It's expensive. It's an investment. Think of it as seed funding for your business.
Mm-hmm.
This is also the cost of the class is not the only expense. You're going to have AI tools. You're going to have proof copies. You're going to have ISBNs. You're going to have to pay for a state registration for your business. Those all have fees associated with them. So it's not $5,000 and you're done. You're going to have a few more expenses. Some of them you can hold off on. Some of them you're not going to be able to. I can't tell you what those fees are because it's different from state to state. When I buy ISBNs, I buy them at $1,000 at a time. You may not want to buy any. It may be better for you to just do digital. I don't recommend that. But you may only want to do digital and you may not want to have your own ISBNs, or maybe you only need 50 or 100 or 10. It's going to vary person to person. But if all of that still sounds copacetic to you, but it's still a hard budget place, there is the option to do a payment plan. And it's on there on the website. You can do Klarna or Affirm or whatever it's called. I have no idea. You can break it up into 3, 6, 9, 12 monthly payments, I think. So, yeah.
I did not realize that.
Yeah, you can do payments. There's a payment plan.
Holy crap, everybody. A payment plan. So if you split it into paying for it over, I guess, 10 months, that's $500 a month or something like that?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, well, all right. So there's a path towards maybe it working. Now, I'm gonna give you some tootie horns.
Please don't overextend yourself.
Yes.
Don't spend your rent money doing this. Don't spend your mortgage payment. Maybe your kid's college fund because they need some tough lessons early. But
Oh, Gracie. Thank you, Gracie.
Yeah. Because there is going to take time, and I don't want people to think that this is a get rich at the end of 6 months. You're going to be making $140,000. You're going to get a lot of my experience, and it's going to set you up to start making a livable income very, very quickly. But it did take me years to get to $140,000 in profit year after year. It took effort. It took a long time, and that may not be your level. You may be 50,000 in profit, and that's profit, not revenue. So it's it's going to vary from person to person. Your mileage may vary, as they say. So I don't want people to have that expectation and put themselves on the line. And then in 6 months, they're going, but Bad Evans said I'd be a millionaire. I'd be a 7-figure author week 27.
What the hell, man? Yes, this is tooting you a little bit. Bad Evan, you are a gold mine. I have always...
But don't take praise well. It's not.
I know. Just shut up and listen.
Okay.
I have always and flush. I've always been engaged and intrigued by how fast your mind moves with certain things. Especially when you get it. Like, God bless. If you get it, like I've seen you explain things to people and go, no. And then you'll, and everybody goes, oh, I see. Because you do have a unique way of looking at this whole thing called publishing, this whole business of publishing, and the way that people should actually apply the tools that they are using, that you use in a real publishing business, and making real money, not, fake money, but real money. And don't think that the Future Fiction Press isn't going to benefit from this knowledge.
Oh yeah,
because there are certain systems and things that Evan has been doing, and it's Evan, you're one of us, right? He's
I
not
avoided it for a long time.
Yeah, he's not on the staff of the FFA, but he's on the inner track, definitely. Look at this. What's this?
That's
Klarna.
Klarna, that's the payment plan company.
Yes, Klarna. Okay, and send the kids down the mine. Damn, I got too many payment plans right now. You're funny. Hey, I'm telling you, don't make yourself
I will eventually do this again.
Yes, but maybe 2 years. It may be 2 or 3 years from now.
It'll be down the road.
Yes.
But as long as I'm still alive, I'm going to be dedicated to helping people in the FFA and to help new writers be better at the business side of our craft.
He's so bad, he's good. I love it. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is a great way to end this live stream. Evan, I appreciate you. And if anybody is interested, do me a favor, go down, right down there, click on the link below, and we will be seeing you in the summit, which is the publishing summit taught by Mr. Bad Evans, a $5,000 value for 26 weeks. You will be getting 2 hours on Sundays, every Sunday for 26 weeks. You will have classwork. You will have homework to do. You will have stuff that is actionable and achievable. And all of those things.
Not theory.
Actual
practice.
Actual stuff that you will do, and you will have a business. If you follow all of this stuff, you will have a real publishing business at the end of this, in the middle, sort of in the beginning of this 20th. You have a real business that you build from scratch with the Publishing Summit. All right. And Evan, I cannot say enough how many times before the end of the month I'm going to probably have you back on. I cannot say enough. I kind of want maybe to do this again next week. We're getting, as we get closer to it's time to start the summit. We're gonna have a few other things about the summit. We have a 50-person cap right now, and right now we're in the 12 to 15 person range, and we know. And
just in a couple of days, like that's. I mean, we announced this Friday night at 8:00, and we're like 8:30.
Yeah,
and it's 13, 14 people somewhere around there right now.
Yeah, right now. And if you get in and you're one of the first 20, you get at least 2 hours of coaching. The first 10 got 5 hours of coaching, and the second 10 are going to get 2 hours of coaching. And if you need to, you can pay for all of this on Klarna, and you can split it out into payable chunks, easy chunks for you to be able to pay it out. So, and don't get this program because you are in a FOMO and you aren't going to be able to apply yourself. You think that this is the only chance you're ever going to have for this. It may be that we don't get back to this for another 2 or 3 years, but imagine how much the industry will have changed in those 2 years. If you get in now, then you will be able to gather a bunch of empirical knowledge, actionable knowledge. But if you have to wait 3 years, then there's always the FFA, which is a wonderful organization over at the Future Fiction Academy.com, where we have a gateway to the mastermind, which is our 2025 July accelerator, which costs $240 a month. And that will get you in the mastermind. You will learn how the basics, and then you will have this fire hose of knowledge about all kinds of things that we do to make AI work for us. So, and we got tons of standalone classes and all kinds of stuff. But today, what I want you to concentrate on is the Publishing Summit and the Bad Evan himself. Are you going to be doing any smut?
At least one pen name will be maybe not my standard vulgar and depraved banned by Amazon level, but we're definitely going to have level 4, level 5. But this isn't all just going to be smut or romance.
No, not at all. Not at all. But I know that
we're going to look at trends to pick the genres that each pen name will focus on. I just happen to know smut sells really well. Ask me how I know that. But we're probably going to do some sci-fi, urban fantasy, do some, maybe an experiment, so there'll be some different things. We might do a contemporary sweet romance.
Oh,
I know people don't think of me when they think of contemporary sweet closed door romance. But I'll give it a whirl. We'll try it out. I might be able to write that. But yeah, so it's not going to be the Bad Evan dungeon, red light district stuff. We're going to be doing other genres so that it's easier. And the reason why I want to do that is because I want you to be able to take what you're learning and what you're doing along with me on the screen and be able to take that directly to the genre that you're researching and that you think is going to be good for you. I don't want you, because here's the thing. When you look at like my smut writing, the process for that and the way I have to like poke the AI to do the thing is a lot different than urban fantasy or epic sci-fi or dystopian.
You have to use specific models and all kinds of stuff.
And they could be clunky, and then one of them gets taken off, and you got to find another one to replace it. And it's a pain. So I really want to focus on how to do this in any genre. The ones that you guys are writing on, and you can adopt it. Like I'm going to do one of the smutty ones so that you do see like how to poke the thing and make it do the thing. But we're not going to exclusively focus on that. It'll probably actually be the last pen name, and the last sets of books that we do are the more delicious and dirty books.
You said delicious and dirty all at the same time. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That is that for that. My name's Ikello Herod, and this, I don't know which side you are on the actual video, and this is Bad Evan, and the summit is coming. So I want you to climb that mountain, and I will see you, and Evan will see you all in class. Have a good day, y'all, and be nice to each other, because life's too short for any other kind of bullcocker. Okay? Life's too short.
Don't tell me what to do.
Have a good day, y'all.
We're dreamers, we're believers, reaching for the stars, yeah. With AI by our side, possibilities endless and bright. There's a future full of promise, and it's within our grasp. So let's embrace